Welcome back to the Legends of Inside Sports. I'm your host, Harold Bell. Today we will continue our discussion as it relates to the black athlete, specifically the black quarterback. The discussion started with Dr. Harry Edwards, the foremost authority on the black athlete. Historian Dr. Al Tony Gilmore, NFL Hall of Fame quarterback, Green Bay Packer great Willie Wood, and former Ohio State quarterback Cornelius Green. We will pick up the discussion with my media roundtable participants, Dick Heller of the Washington Times, Ron Thomas of the San Francisco Chronicle, and Doug Smith of USA Today. We're going to take a couple of calls, and then joining me will be Doug Smith of USA Today and Cornelius Green.
You on the air? Yeah. I would like to know, can you name me a team that won the Super Bowl with just one quarterback only?
One quarterback only. I can't think of one. What about the Green Bay Packers with Bob Starr? Who's behind Bob Starr? Do you recall who was behind Bob Starr?
Well, right offhand, no, I don't.
Yeah, I thought the Bob Starr was a whole show with the Green Bay Packers, but in the National Football League, you got to have a competent backup quarterback. You got to have two good quarterbacks, and then I think it would be ridiculous for the Redskins to trade Doug Williams or Jay Trader next year, because anything can happen on that football field.
I grant you that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's why you answered my question correctly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's a good point. It really is that you need two good quality quarterbacks to win in the National Football League. You can't go into the season having one quarterback.
Yeah, but it's also very important that you have the backup with the temperament to accept that role.
Right. Okay, the number to call is 462-3313. You got a comment or question, or you'd like to take a chance and try my sports quiz. Inside Sports, you're on the air.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment about Doug Williams and Jay Schrader. The fact that it's not a black-white issue.
That's right.
I know at times in talking to my counterparts at work, I say the same thing. But I think deep down, we all know that it really is a black and white issue.
Right.
What I like to say is if the roles were reversed, Jay Schrader was black and Doug Williams was white, then Doug Williams would have been the starting quarterback as soon as he came on board with the Washington Redskins. They would have never allowed a black young quarterback to play as they've allowed Jay Schrader when they have a more experienced quarterback who is clearly the better quarterback. I mean, it's always been a case with me that Doug Williams has always been the better quarterback in Washington.
Amen.
Okay, and it brings back memories of when Jamie Harris went to L.A. and led them to the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And in both playoff games, they started a young white quarterback, Pat Hayden. Now, one of those games they didn't start him, but he was pulled. Harris was pulled out of the game on the first series of plays. I think he threw an interception on the first series of downs.
That's right.
And Pat Hayden went in and finished the game, and they lost. The next year, Pat Hayden started the game, and they lost. Although Jamie Harris was the quarterback up until that time. Now, I think Knox was the coach at the time, and later on he admitted that he had succumbed to pressure of not starting the black quarterback in the playoff games.
Yeah, I think the bottom line to it is a black and white thing. I tried to sort of downplay it, but I know too deep down. And plus, Jay Schrader's attitude has not helped at all. His little boy mentality. Like the media in this town has tried to make it look like Jay Schrader has been a team ball player and that he's behind. But when he was pulled from the game, the cameras showed this guy clearly divorced himself from Joe Gibbs and his other teammates. The only time he came in the huddle was when it looked like the Redskins were trying to make a comeback and they were going to win. That's when he went over into the huddle. But all the newspapers and the TV cameras showed Jay Schrader in the huddle, and that was it. But I talked to some of the ball players. They said, Harold, don't call our names. This guy stayed as far away from Coach Gibbs and other ball players. He was over there pouting. And then when it looked like the Redskins were going to come back, that's when he went over there in the huddle. And he took Jay Schrader on Channel 9 this past week, took credit for winning the game because of his play calling. That's terrible, man.
Yeah. I want to agree with Doug on the fact that I think Doug Williams has some intangibles that will surprise a lot of people, in the Washington, D.C. area, even if they do play San Francisco. just think he's going to be a super quarterback, whether he goes San Francisco or Chicago.
Yeah, well, let's say a prayer because it will be a tough job. I think he's going to do a great job. I don't think he's going to embarrass himself. Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He should have been undefeated. 2 drop passes by Art Monk in the special teams breakdown in the Atlanta game. He could have been, 5-0. But I think Doug is definitely the quarterback to go against the San Francisco 49ers. Huh? Oh yeah, Gary Clark did. But I think the guys they may be trying too hard. It's just one of those things that happen. Doug's in the wrong place at the right time.
Let me just,
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, that's an interesting observation because when I was with Newsday back in the mid-'70s, I covered the Pittsburgh Steelers when they were going through the same problem. Joe Gilliam was the starting quarterback, and he had the team at 4-1-1.
Right.
When Chuck Noll decided under pressure to start Terry Bradshaw. And same kind of situation in the sense that the Steelers were so strong that I don't believe it made a difference who the quarterback was that year. I think they still would have won the Super Bowl. And unfortunately, the decision went to Terry Bradshaw. And I think that if Joe Gilliam had had the opportunity, then we still wouldn't be waiting now for a black quarterback to lead a team to the Super Bowl.
Right. And you talking about black quarterbacks, we got a guy on the telephone right now who knows the pressure of playing quarterback and playing big-time college football as a quarterback. And he could tell us some stories himself. And I'd like to welcome to Inside Sports, the guy who's no stranger to Inside Sports. And in fact, I'm very proud of him. He just did a bowl game on CNN this past week. And one of the D.C. area's finest athletes, all-around athletes that have come out of this town. And I'm talking about the one and only Cornelius Green. How you doing, Cornelius? I'm fine, Cornelius. Cornelius, of course, this year, coming out of the college ranks, we got so many top-flight black quarterbacks. And over the years, as you know, the National Football League, and you were one of those, that when they get to the National Football League, they want to switch them to wide receiver and defensive back. Of course, one of the top guys is McPherson out of Syracuse. Tell us what you see as the future of black quarterbacks in the National Football League.
Well, it's getting a little better, but I think the main thing is what city that is going to choose the black quarterback because, racism still exists. And it depends on what city that these kids are going to play in.
Cornelius, of course, a big controversy between Jay Schroeder and Doug Williams. As we know, as the young man said earlier online, we know the bottom line is a black and white thing. And you hate to see that still going on in 1987. I know that you had some very difficult experiences that you had to overcome out at Ohio State. And despite that being the strong type of personality that you are, you overcame that. But a lot of young black men don't have that type of a personality or that. They have a thin skin, and I think it's going to take a strong individuals coming out of the college ranks to really say, hey, I'm coming in as a quarterback, and that's where I want to be. I don't want you switching me. I think that's what happened to Warren Moon. Of course, we had a bad young man out of Tennessee State by the name of Eldridge Dickey. They brought him in, and I think the Oakland, they wanted to change him to wide receiver. This guy could throw with both hands. So we have still a lot of obstacles to overcome, even in 1987.
Well, mainly, if most black quarterbacks coming out of college now want to play in the NFL so bad that they will make a change. And like someone like McPherson says that he wants a quarterback and that's all he wants to do is quarterback. And when you take that type of attitude, I think that the NFL looks at you a little differently. And if they were to take the attitude that I'm a quarterback and I don't want to play wide receiver, I don't want to play defensive back, and if you don't play me at quarterback, then I just won't play football at all, because that's why you're going to college anyway to get the education. And most of the black quarterbacks are going to have to display that type of attitude now.
Yeah, Cornelius, I would think that if Doug Williams is not going to be the guy who becomes the first black to take a team to the Super Bowl, I would think that Randall Cunningham has that opportunity. And the only reason I think that is because apparently Buddy Ryan has already done that. He has said, you're going to be my quarterback. And he showed remarkable improvement this year, and I think that he may be 2 years away from being a contender.
Yeah, Randall Cunningham has probably more raw ability than any quarterback in the NFL. With his running capabilities and just his leadership capabilities, he throws the ball well. He's got good talent that's surrounding him. And Buddy Ryan is like you said, has stated that Randall's going to be his quarterback. And I think a lot of other teams in the NFL are now looking at a quarterback like Randall Cunningham because the stigma was on black quarterbacks that we run too much and we don't throw enough. And we're seeing that being able to run and throw effectively like Randall has shown, that you can win and win decisively. And I think Randall do have the opportunity to go to a Super Bowl, but I think I'm hoping that Doug will be the first one.
Cornelius, you had some things happen at your alma mater this past year, and of course this past week, there's the firing of Earl Bruce, who replaced, of course, the legendary, the guy that you played under, of course, Woody Hayes, and of course there was a piece in the paper that Willie Jeffries was being considered as a coach at Ohio State, but as you see, they end up hiring this guy out of Arizona, John Cooper. What about that situation out there? I understand that is Lenny Willis still out there on that coaching staff?
At this point, they're saying that this new coach Cooper might keep some of the staff, but I know Lenny is very, very close to Earl Bruce, and I've talked to Lenny, so he's on hold right now, Harold. He's waiting for Earl to, if he gets signed by Arizona State, I think Lenny Willis will go with Earl Bruce. Earl has taught Lenny a lot, and Lenny is very loyal to Earl Bruce, so Lenny probably will switch over and go with Arizona State if Earl was to get that head coaching job. It put a bad taste in everybody's mouth how Ohio State handled the situation with Earl Bruce, and made a lot of people upset.
Cornelius, of course, this past week, maybe a couple of weeks ago, there was a piece in USA Today where they quoted me as saying that, of course, NBC hiring two white women to do national sports and one to do play-by-play football was a slap in the face to black sportscasters and black athletes all over the country, and that we would be pushed further and further to the back of the bus. Well, from that quote, I got a call from CNN News in San Jose Mercury newspaper out in California about my quote, and the lady from CNN asked me, could I recommend somebody, a black athlete who had some bowl experience, to do bowl games this week? And of course, I recommended Cornelius Green. And Cornelius, tell us how that turned out.
It turned out very well, Harold, and again, I'd like to thank you for recommending me. I was on CNN News, and it was live on 54 states and 54 foreign countries, and they wanted to know the pressure that one would go through before a bowl game. And it turned out very well. It was me and another young man from UCLA. We were basically telling our thoughts and fears and what goes on before a bowl game, and it turned out very well.
Right. That I think in itself, young, handsome, articulate guy like yourself, probably, was this your first experience doing something like this, Cornelius?
Really, my first one, Harold, is you and I was partners way back. We did the Dunbar Richardson game at RFK Stadium. I thought we did a very good job. We got a lot of good support from people around the DC area, said that we did a very good job. And I happened to be the color analyst for Ohio State for 1 year back in '79. So I was the first black to do that at Ohio State. And the next year, I was replaced by someone else. But, that goes to show, too, that we can get the big jobs and you can do a good job as well. But then again, you need the opportunity.
Right. I'll just, thinking back to the high school days. We were the first DC Public High School athletes to do play-by-play in color for a championship game at RFK Stadium, and that was really a fantastic experience because I had never done play-by-play before, and I called you in to do color, and we had a ball. We really did. Cornelius did an outstanding job, and I think that was another first, and I think it's just the idea of us getting the opportunity, man, to be allowed to do things like that because there are a lot of talented blacks out here, both female and male, who are capable of doing that. But unless you got a godfather in the right place at the right time, we never get those type of opportunities. Cornelius, yeah, no doubt. Blue eyes and blonde hair. Cornelius, I'd like to thank you for participating here in Inside Sports. I know this is going to be 1988 is going to be the year. You have a new quarterback in the family that you're having, I understand, having great fun with. And
I'm making noise now. He's in there crying for me now, but he's going to be a big kid, and hopefully he can change the way this world is as far as quarterbacks are concerned.
right. Cornelius, happy 1988, man, and keep on doing, being the great guy that you've always been, man, and always been available and accessible. And we wish you the best for 1988, Cornelius. All right. Thank you.
Okay, that was Cornelius Green, who led Ohio State to 3 Rose Bowls and got the shaft. Sound like he got the shaft from Ohio State. So, hey, but anyway, something did come out of that year, despite the naysayers and against all odds. We know Doug Williams went on to make American sports history by becoming the first black quarterback to play in and win a Super Bowl and become the most valuable player. He went to Disneyland. He beat quarterback, the blue-eyed blonde quarterback, a guy who was sitting on top of the mountain, John Elway. The Denver Broncos lost 42-10. And what a great, great experience. Now Doug Williams, guess what, is back in Washington. Washington Pro Football Team has hired him as its personnel director. Welcome back home, Doug. We're going to get out of here, but we will continue this discussion, so you stay with us.